Let's take you back to KwaZulu-Natal. We take you to the Buthelezi homestead in Kwaphindangene, and that's where we find Newzroom Afrika's Ziyanda Ngcobo. Ziyanda, we understand that the IFP is there?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's quite obvious the entire IFP is here, Dudu, but we've got the chairperson of the IFP in KwaZulu-Natal, Mr. Thami Ntuli. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika. Your initial reaction to the news of the passing of Kwaphindangene?
Well, we are saddened. Loss was a great loss. I can compare with so many losses that one might have experienced even in the family, because it's not only the loss for the South Africans. We have lost a global icon for various reasons. I regard Umntwana as a servant of the people who served people with integrity while he was even leading KwaZulu government. You recall that he served and there was not even a single cent which was reported to have been stolen, because he was always a man of integrity for the infrastructural development that he invested in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. You can talk about schools, you can talk about tertiary institutions such as colleges and universities. You can talk about even factories, investors that were attracted so that people would get employment. You know, he's such a person who did not only preach the vision, but who also practiced it. You recall that there is Mangosuthu University of Technology, which was built through his initiatives. You recall that there is Itala Bank, which was founded by himself. And we lost a liberator, because he struggled for our liberation. That was confirmed by Dr. Olusegun Obasanjo, was further confirmed by Dr. Nelson Mandela, even in his book, The Long Walk to Freedom, that his release was because of his persuasion and the political prisoners. Even Dr. Kevin Kaunda, whom we visited with him to Zambia in 2019, thanked him that the mission we gave you as the African leaders put your family into risk, including yourself. But we are grateful that before I had to depart, I had to see you to thank you for that. What you did not only impact on the South Africans, but also extended to the African countries. Yeah. You remember that the issue of the traditional leadership, he even risked his political party not to campaign for the 1994 elections. We campaigned on a very short scale because he wanted the place of the traditional leadership to be accommodated in the constitution.
I want us to talk about this province of KwaZulu-Natal and the stability of not only the IFP but also in coexisting with the ANC. Do you have any concerns about any possible ructions in this province now that an elder has basically left the room?
He left us having taught us the importance of reconciliation, because he is a man who did not believe in violence. He's someone who believed in that peaceful means in whatever situation, and even the issue of reconciliation even sent us to try and meet the ANC so that we were able to talk about the issues that affected the two political parties in the past, so that we close the book, we get into a peaceful interaction in the province of KwaZulu-Natal.
But we're going into elections next year, and that becomes even more important to ensure that there is that stability. And if I could just add, he was someone who spoke quite greatly about the return of the IFP or ANC reconciling and becoming one again.
Not necessarily the understanding of the reconciliation did not mean that the IFP and ANC will become one political party, but meant that we should be able to exist while others exist, and we should be able to pursue the mission of making the life of the people better in different formations. And that is what, in fact, we were fighting for. And in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, we'll continue to try and pursue his vision of seeing the ANC and the IFP reaching a stage wherein we'll say we have reconciliated.
Even internally in the IFP as well?
Well, you know, in the IFP, I can assure you, people say different things in different platforms, but inside, I sit in the NEC, I'm a leader of the provincial executive. We address different meetings with our leaders, including the president of the party. There's never been even a single incident that indicates that there is a conflict. We are a united party because he always preached it, and I think his message of unity should resonate with all of us within the IFP, so that we only focus to making the life of the people better.
All right, so that's IFP KZN chairperson Thami Ntuli, and I can see to my right as one Narend Singh. He is the treasurer of the party. There have been several others who continue to stream into the home of Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, and as we've already been reflecting, Dudu, we know that the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal will be arriving here. That's why it's important to reflect on the stability of the province, especially as we go to a hotly contested election in 2024. And I'm going to ask my colleague Gidu just to take the camera off the tripod as we try and edge closer to Mr. Singh to also get his views. He would have worked very closely with Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi in Parliament, in KwaZulu-Natal, in the IFP, and certainly it is a moment for those who would have known the man on a personal and a much more personal level. So let's just try and move closer to Mr. Singh, and who will obviously give his reflections. We heard yesterday from Mkhuleko Hlengwa, who also was mentored by Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi from the time he was young, in fact being one of the youngest members of Parliament to be sent by a political party, if my memory serves me well. So certainly there are many reflections that will be coming through. I'm also keen to hear then what the ANC will have to say about the late Prince Buthelezi, especially because of the history of violence between the two parties. Let's bring in Narend Singh, and of course you can imagine there's a lot of movement here inside the homestead. There are cars moving in and out, so we do apologize for that. Mr. Singh, good morning. You're live on Newzroom Africa. Our condolences to you. What was your reaction? Where were you when you heard the news?
Well, I was at home, and it's in the early hours of the morning that I received the call. And whilst we all knew that Baba was not well, it comes as a final blow when you know a person is no more. And, it was a shock, sadness, and thinking about his vision and his legacy, and how the responsibility lies on all of us now to promote and preserve his legacy and vision moving forward.
You work very closely with him, especially in Parliament, and one of the discussions that has been taking place is his legacy of the Ingonyama Trust land, and part of the reason why he stayed in Parliament for so long was because he wanted to hear about the preservation of this act and this trust. So what baton will you be taking over from Shenge?
Well, we've got to continue that fight, and as you quite correctly say, I mean, he would have retired a few years ago from Parliament, but he wanted to see through what happens with the Ngonyama Trust, what happens with land issues, what happens with the role of traditional leaders, because as you would know, it is the IFP in 1993 that pursued very vigorously the role of traditional leaders and the role of His Majesty the King in the Constitution. And he was quite disappointed, and we raised it in every debate, him and us, that even up until now, the role of traditional leaders within the local government system has not been clearly identified. Although it's a constitutional imperative, that still has not been done. And he has had a number of discussions with Minister Nkosazana Dlamini as Minister of Kokta, with Minister Dr. Zweli Mkhize and other ministers, trying to impress upon them that we have to sort out this lacuna between the role of traditional leaders and the role of local government, the traditional local government as we know it.
And as the IFP also looks set to continue going into, an election year, and there's a lot of concern around the stability of the IFP internally, but also the relationship with the ANC in this province.
Well, I think come at the hour, come at the person, and I think his passing on should act as a catalyst for us, particularly in the IFP, to come together. to come together and ensure we do what he would have liked us to do. And we're very fortunate that in the last few years, when he was not president, he played the role of galvanizing the party. Obviously, in any political party, in any family, in any organization, once the head goes, you do start getting rumblings. But it's our maturity that must ensure that we deal with that in a way that will preserve his legacy and will also take the nation forward and take our country forward.
Narend Singh is an IFP NEC member, treasurer, in fact, and as you would have heard, he worked very closely with him over the years. And as we speak, there is a meeting with the family. There's a committee that has been set up that includes the royal family, the Buthelezi family, the government, as well as other stakeholders such as the police, in terms of figuring out logistics. Looks set to be several memorials taking place in Durban and Johannesburg, and as well as Ulundi, which is basically the stronghold of not only Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, the person, but the IFP as a party.
Thank you very much, Ziyanda Ngcobo.